Welcome to Understanding Culture, Society, and Politics, Week 3. For this week, we'll focus on this most essential learning competency, and that is to explain the importance of cultural relativism in attaining cultural understanding. With this, we need to achieve the following objectives. First one, to become aware of why and how cultural relativism mitigates ethnocentrism. And for our second objective, to value the importance of one's culture. So before we start with our discussion, I'd like you to watch this video. And after watching this video, I'd like to know your reaction, your feelings about it. So, let's get it started.
We've progressed as humans in modern civilization and grown out of traditions of the past, but there are a few weird ones that have managed to survive the test of time. Cobra Gold. Each year, over 13,000 military members from 7 countries, including Thailand, the US, Singapore, Indonesia, Japan, South Korea, and Malaysia, participate in an 11-day exercise in Thailand known as Cobra Gold. During this time, the soldiers learn how to survive in the wilderness and take part in exercises such as learning how to kill a cobra and drink its blood, along with biting the heads off of chickens. Oh, did we mention that eating scorpions is also on the list? Living with the dead. In Indonesia, the Toraja people will exhume the bodies of their deceased loved ones annually to clean the bodies and physically walk the dead home. The corpses are dressed in special garments and paraded around town. Even those who died decades ago are exhumed and a part of the ceremony. The coffins are also cleaned during this time. After the task of cleaning is done, the families walk the corpses back to their final resting place with fresh garments and a clean coffin. Cannibalism. While we'd like to think that the practice of cannibalism is long gone, there are still remote parts of the world that still participate in eating people. The Kurawai tribe in Indonesian New Guinea will typically eat their witch doctors, since they seem to eat people, so why not eat them back? Starting with the brain first. Also, in the Amazon, the Yanomami tribe will eat their dead, after they've died of course, by grinding their bones after 45 days and drinking them in a banana soup. After a year, the villagers will then consume the ashes of the burnt flesh, all for the sake of helping the deceased enter paradise. Bear worship. The Ainu people, who are native to Japan and Russia, believe that bears are gods walking among us, so they must be sacrificed. If a bear is sacrificed, then mankind is blessed. But the whole tradition is pretty gruesome, as it requires slaughtering a hibernating mother. Then the cubs are kept in captivity, and 2 years later are also killed either by choking or spearing. Then the villagers drink the blood, eat the flesh, and place the bear skull on top of a spear wrapped in its skin so that it can be worshipped. Finger amputation. In the Dani tribe from Papua, Indonesia, fingers are amputated from the women as a symbol of sadness and mourning. By amputating the upper tips of the fingers during the funeral, the victim is displaying their sadness and reflecting their inner grief by going through intense physical pain. The history behind this ritual is that when a person dies, they have spirits that have to be appeased through shocking acts. String is tied around the finger to numb them. Then, after they've been amputated, the ends are burned to create new scar tissue. Walking on coal. Firewalking is still an active tradition that is used for many different reasons. One such reason would be to help prevent national disaster. Another method of firewalking is for a husband to carry his new wife over burning coals before they cross the threshold to their new home. The reasoning behind this tradition is to ensure that the wife has an easy labor once she starts bearing children. Exorcism. In numerous religions and branches of the Christian faith, it is believed that demons can possess a person and completely take over their bodies. To combat this, religious clergy, including pastors and priests, will perform exorcisms in order to get rid of the evil spirits. In the Catholic religion, holy water, crosses, and the recitation of religious texts are used repeatedly until the demon is gone. In other branches of the Christian faith, prayers are still used. Along with Christianity, several other religions still perform exorcisms to this day. Baby tossing. In the state of Karnataka, there's an annual tradition where priests will shake and then throw babies and toddlers from a tower over 30 feet above the ground. The little tykes are caught by a large towel or blanket, and then they're carried around the area by the large crowd, with every person getting a touch of the child before returning it to its mother. The idea behind this tradition is to bring good luck to the baby and their families, through traumatizing them. Blood fiestas. Blood fiestas are pretty much celebrations that are dedicated to torture and killing. Bulls are the main victims, as some activities include chasing the animal with knives and spears while stabbing it to death, or pouring hot wax all over the poor animal, and anything else that you can do to inflict pain and suffering. About 10 to 20,000 blood fiestas take place in Spain each year, and other countries will partake, including Mexico, Brazil, and Portugal.
So, if you have this kind of reaction after watching the video, I think you have judged the people and the culture that you have seen. Then that reaction has something to do with the word ethnocentrism. And if we say ethnocentrism, that is an evaluation of other cultures according to preconceptions originating in the standards and customs of one's own culture. Culture as the main topic is a holistic and complicated one, because we're not only talking about class, but also race, region, ethnicity, religion. That is why no one has the right to judge another society's customs, whether unacceptable to you, but accepted to other group of people. But do not worry, we can actually handle that situation by applying this idea, and that is the cross-cultural relationships. What is this idea? Cross-cultural relationship is an idea that people from different cultures can have relationships that acknowledge, respect, and begin to understand each other's diverse lives. And to do that, let us learn this approach, cultural relativism. So what is cultural relativism? It is an approach to understand a culture on its own terms and not to make judgments using the standards of one's own culture. The goal of this is to promote understanding of cultural practices that are not typically part of one's culture. To distinguish ethnocentrism from cultural relativism, you can use this chart. And the key word is that ethnocentrism, you're viewing your culture as superior than any other culture, while relativism, it believes that all cultures are worthy in their own right and are of equal value. There are two categories of cultural relativism. The first category is absolute. In this category, everything that happens within a culture must and should not be questioned by outsiders. The extreme example of absolute cultural relativism would be the Nazi Party's point of view in justifying the Holocaust. Meanwhile, the other category is called critical. For this, it creates questions about cultural practices in terms of who is accepting them and why. At the same time, it recognizes power relationships. This cultural relativism is actually an analytic tool used by Franz Boas in the 20th century. It was used to push back on the ethnocentrism that often tarnished research at the time, which was mostly conducted by white and wealthy Western men. So why recognizing cultural relativism matters? Why? Anyone? Alright, it is because using this perspective, it leads to the view that no one culture is superior than another culture, and there is no absolute standard of good or evil. Therefore, every decision and judgment of what is right and wrong is individually decided in each society. So, if you have questions, clarifications with regards to our topic for today, you may send a personal message to my account. Once again, thank you so much, and this is Mom Maria Angelica Salcedo Relucio at your service. Thank you and God bless. Keep safe, everyone.